And we're back again to Money Means Business, and we've got a lot to talk about with our guest, Mr. Hany Abou-El-Fotouh, economist and financial analyst. Welcome with us here.
Hello.
Pleasure always having you here. Well, there's a lot to talk about actually, and there are developments every day, every minute actually that are happening here. Well, you know, when we just, called it the New Republic, it's new in all ways, being built anew with, going to extreme heights in everything. These days, we're talking about the new banknotes, the money, the new money, how it looks like. What's the whole story?
Well, the new polymer notes will be printed hopefully before end of this year. And let me make it very clear that the plastic money, which is actually different from what could be thought of as plastic, things made of plastic, but it is actually made of very thin, flexible, transparent plastic film. Unlike the traditional or the conventional banknotes, they are made of cotton-based fibers mixed with linen or other texture. The story behind the plastic money actually is very interesting, and it started in mid-60s when the new printing machines and photocopying machine started to print color papers. And at that time there were a very huge and substantial wave of counterfeiting the currency, and particularly in Australia the currency was not secured enough, and that's why they thought, why not make a more secure currency? And they thought, well, let's try to make it from plastic. And so they took several ways and timed experiments to make the new polymer, the new notes from the polymer plastic substance, and until the 1988, Australia was the first country to introduce the polymer notes. Now we are speaking about more than 50 countries around the world dealing in or have issued polymer notes, including United Kingdom, Singapore, New Zealand, and in the Middle East, more recently Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Morocco. In fact, Egypt decided to go to this move to print the polymer notes because of the salient features of the new currency, which is more durable, more clean, eco-friendly, and in fact they provide more security features unlike the cotton-based traditional notes.
Well, also well, how the new banknotes will look like, does that have anything to do with when they are printed, the old ones will go obsolete and will go, will return back to the banks in order to replace them with the new banknotes?
Not at this stage, because as declared by central bank officials, the existing or the current banknotes, the denomination 10 and 20, will go in parallel with the new currency. But in due course, I don't know exactly when, there will be one single denomination which would be replacing the conventional note, and the conventional notes will be withdrawn from circulation, because the purpose is to keep the cost of reprinting lower, because the lifespan of the conventional notes is shorter than the polymer notes. It is estimated that the lifespan of the polymer notes is around 4 years, while the lifespan of the cotton-based notes is only 2.5 years.
Well, we had the idea when we talked about the gray economy in the middle, or those, who are just doing their own business without paying their dues like the rest of the registered businesses and registered, people in, doing business. That changing the currency, like what happened in India, forced those who had the money, under the table, or
under the mattress,
under the mattress, and under
under the carpet,
under the carpet, to just get them out in order to cash anything, or like put them to be in the mainstream, so nothing will be just underneath anymore, that it will be incorporated into the general economy. Would that be the case, or is it we're going slowly and giving them the chance, to put their money, exchange it with the new banknotes, and nothing will happen?
Well, we are going slowly but surely.
Yeah.
Like the good example which you have just said, what happened in India, they replaced certain denominations of the Indian local currency with the polymer notes, with new designs. And this, of course, will help in encouraging the grey sector to get the get from wherever it is stored, to the and exchange the old notes with the new notes. Of course, this will help in getting the grey economy into, or integrate the grey economy into the formal economy. But the issue here is maybe this could be very feasible when the new currency is issued at higher denominations, maybe the £200, but the 10 and 20, they are little. The purchasing power of the 10 and 20 are too little, and the amount of money in circulation is not that would help to push the grey economy towards the formal economy. I mean, the benefit is not envisaged to be that high.
Yeah. Well, we talked before about trying to lure those, in the gray area, economy, or those who are in the shadow, in order to incorporate their own businesses to, in the general economy, or the one that, everybody's, in, and not everybody, of course, a portion is not in that. Well, recently, also, those who are doing business over the internet, and then, of course, they just, they sell, and they make it not purchase, but selling items, and making money without paying anything on that. But then they decided that those pages that are being sponsored and paying sponsorship will be, would they have to pay for that, for the items they sell, or this is
they have to pay government dues on that.
Definitely, of course. But this sounds sometimes difficult. It's like how to just decide what is sold and what's not sold. You can sponsor a page, but does not mean that you sold something. So it could be sometimes a bit unfair. Is it, or is it unfair not to just make them pay? Definitely, since this is a business page.
In fact, I see it is unfair to let them not pay, because on the other hand, conventional stores, they are incurring operational expenses, including salaries, electricity, utilities,
people working for them, definitely.
And miscellaneous expenses, as well as they have to pay taxes. On the other hand, they are selling this more or less the same type of goods, or services.
Yes.
Those who operate entirely through internet, they don't incur they don't incur operational expenses, and they don't pay taxes. So it is fair that the government should have a system in place to not to discourage internet, the
Business,
internet
that is, I think,
business,
more
but
spending more.
okay,
Yeah.
you do business, you make money, and you have to pay the government dues. You have to pay taxes. It's very fair, because otherwise it is inequitable treatment if we compare those who own shops and have physical presence with those who operate entirely through social media pages or just websites.
Definitely, definitely. Well, we'll go for a short break. After we should be coming back with this report. Stay tuned with us, don't go away. Welcome back again to Money News Business. We're still, well, going back to the banknotes and the designs of the banknotes that the president was seeing. They were given to him to have a look at, and there was a row over it. What happened? You know?
Indeed, the row was about the rainbow colors on the banknotes, as the samples which were shown on the media. In fact, made some people unhappy about showing the rainbow colors, which resembles or has its bad connotation with the flag of the gays. And, in fact, a sort of dissatisfaction spread over the social media for several days until the Central Bank of Egypt announced that these are not the final designs. But let me explain a bit here about the rainbow color, because actually these are not part of the design. These are just watermark, sophisticated security features printed to secure the currency against counterfeit. And I made a search on Google, and I checked the website of the Bank of England and the catalog of the polymer notes, and I discovered that the rainbow color will appear if the note is tilted and exposed to light. You will see the rainbow color, and
so
otherwise
it
is not printed. Actually, it appears only when it is exposed to a color. To a source, a source of light. So I myself, I don't like the rainbow color with or without its connotation, but in fact, they have a point here, and I think this should be reconsidered. The design and even the security features should be reconsidered to take into consideration the customs in Egypt and the feelings about the rainbow color and its bad connotation in the mind of people.
Well, you know, talking about social media, you know, how effective they are, or, you know, like, because some people might be just pushed, as we've seen, in order to create rows over things that don't, you know, like make kind of disturb, you know, to disturb the social peace and create problems out of nowhere. So how good is it, or how bad is it, or how effective is it, the social media in, you know, impacting decision making in some, well, let's say, you know, like decisions that are taken, some, you know, like it's, you know, like it touches you, you would know, you know, like how people feel. Sometimes, you know, it's not the people, sometimes, you know, some groups push in order to push something off, or, you know, like, or just push it to be, to go, you know, you know, thinking that they will go ahead with it, forcing a certain issue to happen.
In fact, the power of social media cannot be ignored. And I would remind you of the revolutions in year 2011, and it was actually a Facebook revolution. It was triggered by the anger of people, and people come to know about the actions and movements in the streets, so it cannot be ignored. But I don't fully agree that it has a major bearings on the decision making. But of course, the decision makers would listen to the voice of the street, the voice of people, how they think about subjects
issues.
that certain issues that affect their daily lives
Yeah.
and expectations, and of course they take the decisions and not necessarily to satisfy the social media followers, but for the benefits of the country. But otherwise, if the decision makers are being influenced by the social media, they would have taken a decision to bombard the dam in Ethiopia. So it is not logical, and at the same time, they listen.
Yeah.
Decision makers listen to the voice of people.
But I think also, like before, we were not aware of the power of social media during 2011, all that and what happened. You know, but right now, well, we know, but also we can differentiate because during 2011, other groups, went in there to make things, boil more and
Yeah.
create channel events in a way they wanted to channel. But right now, things are not as they were. Even if some elements go in order to create havoc of nothing. I think we can differentiate right now, and we're not fooled by it anymore.
Exactly, and one good thing here I noticed in the last few years that the government reacts more quickly to the rumors, and the cabinet also has a special body that responds and clarifies the sources of the rumors very quickly.
Yeah.
Because in the past this was not happening, and that's probably made people in the streets have boiling feelings and feel very upset about the situation. But this swift and open discussion and exposure, frank transparency
Exactly.
with transparency
that
with
stops
people.
any kind of rumors.
Yes,
in order
before
to
it
create
spreads
havoc.
and have its repercussions and negative feedback.
Definitely. We'll go for a short break. After we should be coming back. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away. And we're back again to My Name is Business, and we've got development. The Antiquities Ministry said on Saturday that Egypt has transported the Pharaoh Khufu's intact solar boat dating back some 4,600 years to the country's soon-to-be unveiled Grand Museum, the Gem. A ministry statement said after crossing the streets of Giza on a smart vehicle, the first boat of King Khufu, discovered in 1954 at the southern corner of the Great Pyramid, has terminated its long journey to the Grand Egyptian Museum, the Gem. The ministry boasted that the 42-meter long and 20-ton solar boat is the biggest and oldest organic artifact made of wood in the history of humanity. It added that his journey on a special remote control vehicle began late on Friday and took 10 hours. Solar boats were buried in pits next to the burial chambers in the belief that they would transport the departed into the afterlife. And what do you feel? We had a great ceremony when we just, they just transported golden mummies to the human civilization, the museum, and now we've got. It's not going to be part of that. It was safe and sound, and one part that it was transported to the Gem.
Well, in fact, I'm very happy. I'm thrilled that these good things happen these days to show that there are activities in tourism happening in grounds despite everything. And when the time comes, I think the show, which was shown yesterday, is a good illustration of the history of Egypt, and those expected, when time comes, those expected tourists, when they come back to Egypt, they will be eager to visit these museums and know more about our history.
It was amazing also knowing that, the solar boats were buried in the pits, meaning that the Nile ran in this area, in Giza, near the pyramid area. How, green it was, how, like wonderful also. Now, it's not the pyramid,
until 200 years ago, or maybe less,
yeah.
this place was greenery. It's not like we see today in Haram Street and the surrounding area is completely desert.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, we hope that it runs again. We don't know how, but it will happen.
Inshallah, it will happen
Inshallah.
one day.
Or, with the changes, going back to the old civilization and the greatness, and also, the new republic. Like in all its glamour and greatness. With all the work that has been and is being done. Well, also, like talking about the. Reports of Fitch, and hailing the Egyptian economy and what it just reached right now.
It's not only Fitch. Last week there was another recent report by Moody's which affirmed Egypt's local currency, Egypt's rating for local currency and foreign currency at B plus with a stable outlook. Yeah. Due to the improvement in the economic indicators and stability of the economy, even though the repercussions, or despite the repercussions of the coronavirus, Egypt has dealt with the repercussions very tactfully. Similarly, the Fitch report also affirmed Egypt's rating with the outlook, stable outlook, and in fact, this hailing of the economy which comes from international rating agencies and international institutions gives us hope that things will go better in future, and we will restore the success which have made just before the outbreak of the COVID-19. So I'm happy, and I hope everyone in Egypt, every citizen in Egypt understand that these organizations, when they issue the reports, they are not biased, they are not being paid by any body or organization to give a favorable report. They are just talking about facts.
Accusing them of hailing the system and all the
figures and facts speak about themselves.
Yeah.
It's just justifications of where we were in the past before the spread of the coronavirus, and the good news and expectations which coming hopefully inshallah next year.
Yeah, and talking about the interest, like fixing the interest rate, in a meeting that took place in the central bank. Fixing it at what rate, and what does that mean?
For the sixth consecutive time, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Egypt has fixed or has kept the key interest rate unchanged. This means, in fact, that we are in a sensitive position if we increase the interest rate. This will have a bearing on the investment side. If we decrease the interest rate, this would go against the appetite of the foreign investors who invest in the local debt instruments. So the expectations in view of the stability or the improvement of the economic indicators, in view of the expected inflation rate to rise, not only in Egypt but globally. The Central Bank of Egypt determined to keep the key interest rate unchanged probably until the end of this year. I think this is a very wise decision, because still the world lives in a state of uncertainty about the economy. The the vaccination plans around the world are slow, particularly in poor countries.
Yeah.
And here in Egypt also it's a bit slow. Let's face the reality. Despite all that, the indicators are the business levels, the operations are moving a bit in a moderate way, but if the interest rate is maintained at this level until the end of the year, I think this would be the best decision in view of this level of uncertainty.
Definitely. But uncertainties, like people, maybe it's slow because people keep asking, well, would I just take the vaccine? But then, you hear things, from the WHO, and other, like talking about the Delta variant and other variants, that even if you take the vaccine, it won't really be helpful and all that. So, people are kind of confused. Should we take the vaccine? Shouldn't we take the vaccine? What happens? Some, reports coming from WHO say, you have to do this. But then you keep hearing, is it rumors or different reports that just say that, that won't work. Even, if you take the vaccine, then, you have problems with the Delta variant or whatever, so, like the decision to take it or not to take it still, like baffles people.
I think the best decision is to take the vaccine because there is no other choice. But I strongly believe that the vaccine will not give immunity, 100% immunity or cure or to stop the disease. But in fact, it will lessen the severity of the symptoms, the fatal symptoms, I would say, the fatal symptoms of the COVID-19. So yes, I would encourage everybody to go and register and take the vaccine.
Definitely. Well, remember, we used to take vaccines for even for every winter not to get a very bad case of influenza or cold. And it really relieved like not attacking the chest, or if someone has a very weak chest, that can be really fatal. Some people die out of a cold, they get a cold or something if they are weak enough. So it's the same thing
particularly with elder people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it is very wide.
They're very vulnerable.
Yeah, very vulnerable to symptoms, to fatal symptoms of the disease.
Yeah, which is really bad that this is happening. But it's happening, so we have to deal with that. Well, also dealing with the different economies here, like the Minister of Trade and Industry, Naveen Gema, discussed with the Omani ambassador to Egypt, Abdullah Al-Rahbi, means of promoting bilateral cooperation in various fields. Well, we have less than 2 minutes, but we are just expanding our cooperation with the different economic and more with the different countries. Africa and Oman and other countries. So it's very important to vary our own cooperation with the different countries, definitely, economically speaking, especially.
I feel that in this particular area it has been improving since the revolution, and Egypt has gained back restored its position with the rest of the world, and particularly in Africa. We've seen that bilateral relations, signing MOUs with different countries, attending conferences at a very high representations from the officials, Egyptian officials. All these, in fact, were not happening in the past, and we see this is progressively increasing day after day.
Definitely, definitely. Well, unfortunately, we came to the end. There's a lot more to talk about, but we came to the end of this episode. Mr. Hany Abou-El-Fotouh, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
We'll see you as matters develop, and day by day, actually, minute by minute. So a lot that we'll be discussing more in our next episodes. Thank you for being here. I'd like to thank our viewers for being with us. We'll see you again next week. As for now, God bless Egypt, God bless Egyptians, God bless the world, God bless our army, our white army, our police, our president. And as we quote from the Holy Quran, ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين. Enter Egypt, God willing, safe. And from the Holy Bible, Mubarak Sha'bi Misr, blessed be Egypt, my people. I'd like also to congratulate Egyptians as a whole for the start of the Virgin Mary's fast. God bless Egypt. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye for now.